great knowledge on team productivity and efficiency. I believe that the topic that she has chosen to speak about is always a hot issue for all of us, for every project manager who struggles to deliver great value within their projects, always with time and cost constraints. So I'm sure that after this webinar, we will all have gained valuable pieces of advice on how to improve our efficiency and productivity using the applications and technology. Before passing the floor to Dahlia, I want to thank Achilles for his coordination, Kostas Pagonis for his valuable assistance, everybody that made this webinar happen. I want you to know that we're gonna hold a 10-minute session for Q&A at the end of the presentation, so be sure to write down your questions. So without any other delay, Mrs. Dahlia Gazzar, the floor is yours.
Thank you, thank you. My Greek is not that good, but I only know Afharisto and Parakalo. So I think those are the main two greetings that I can share with you. And I am super excited to be with you. I love Greek food, Greek people, and I love Greece. So I'm originally from Egypt. I am now in Boston, Massachusetts. I've been working with PMI in regards to helping them with content and interactive sessions for their virtual event experiences, as well as for their global summits and their conferences. So I would love to see in the chat if any of you are planning to come to the global summit. I would love to be able to see you in person. I'm going to share my screen right now with you. A couple of notes for you is this is being recorded for you. So if you have any questions after the session, or if you want to share this with your teammates or with your colleagues, please do. There's also going to be a way where we can connect, because this is not a one-off. So you do not only have me for 45 minutes or for an hour, you will have me forever. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
I think someone is, I would love if people can put their mute button on, just in case you are multitasking. Multitasking is a great thing, but just as long as we are on the phone, but not with each other, if that makes sense. The other thing that I would love is if in the chat, you're able to share with me the questions that you might have, or any other ideas that will that you can share with your colleagues here on this webinar in regards to productivity solutions, new habits that you've created in order to be a better leader, a better teammate, a better task manager or product manager. If you can help me with that, that would be fantastic. Just real quick, the learning objectives here is I want to be able to help you with productivity as well as creating new habits. So when it comes to productivity or team collaboration, it really starts with new habits and tactics or workflows, more so than the technology that enables you to do what you want and to hold you accountable. And the one thing that I would love is for you to keep in mind at least taking 3 tips or 3 of these tools that I'm showing you right now that you would be able to put within your day-to-day project management, as well as your collaboration with your team members. Before we get started, I am really big on connecting with you so that we have future conversations if you have other questions that might come up after this webinar. So this is a very quick way for you to also steal this idea in order to expand your tribe on LinkedIn, especially. But if you are able to pick up your phone and then put your camera on, so you can do this in 2 different ways. You can do this within LinkedIn, or you can do this through your camera. But if you see the QR code, if you can hover over the QR code with your camera, all cameras, smart cameras now have a QR code reader, and then quickly click on the LinkedIn link, the yellow one that shows up. You might have to enable your Bluetooth, but it should take you to LinkedIn, to my profile. And once you are there, if you can just click follow or connect, that would be fantastic. And I would love to see how many people are actually going to be connecting to me right now. So I'll check this out. I will also give you my QR code after the fact. So again, it's super easy. Just open your camera and then hover your camera over the QR code on the screen, and then you will be able to connect with me so that we can have future conversations. Stelios, I see you. Marios, I see you. At least I know some people are following instructions, so that's a good thing. Perfect. Awesome. So let's go forward. So in regards to productivity and in regards to team collaboration, it is truly about creating new habits. And I think with the Corona coaster that we went through in the last couple of years, being productive and being efficient, as well as being really great at certain ways of how you connect to your team members and how you communicate certain information, has been a key challenge as well as opportunity for us to see what we can do better, how we can communicate better, as well as to set boundaries. So I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure the summer in Greece is pretty phenomenal. So therefore, setting boundaries and being productive for a certain amount of times, but also setting time aside for family and friends, and taking care of yourself, especially in the very amazing hot sun that you have, because it's super hot here in Boston right now. So we're almost in the same weather pattern as you are. So I would like for you to take this as an example and to make sure that you're not doing what you have been doing in the past couple of years. So work has been crazy. Everybody has schedules that are just absolutely insane. And if you agree with me, I would love to see that in the chat as well, or what also keeps you very, very busy. This screenshot that you see right now is actually a screenshot of my old calendar. And so this is all about, how you set time, and then habit of how you put time aside so that you are not potentially multitasking at all times, that you're setting time aside for certain projects, certain tasks, certain time for you as well, and that you are putting it on your calendar. So we're talking about the first productivity tool or tip that I want to give you is about block scheduling, about time block scheduling. And if you look at your daily routine, your daily schedule, this is where you want to, for maybe a couple of days, look at your calendar, mark down what you spend a lot of time on. And I want you for the next couple of days after that is to really play around with blocking time for email, blocking time for presentations, blocking time for inspiration, blocking time for communicating with your team or your leaders or your peers, even blocking time for research on different project management tactics, going back to the on-demand recordings from PMI, for example, all of that. And you block your time accordingly. This is the biggest challenge that project managers have, because they try to be superheroes. You have capes, you try to put on like all your superpowers together, and you try to do everything, especially if you're trying to juggle your family and your children, or having a baby, hint, hint. So someone's having a new baby, hopefully today. So this is where you want to block your time and be truthful with yourself in regards to how you manage your time. Make sure that you're also managing your time for you, for self-care, because that is very important as well. The other big thing when it comes to productivity is people live in their inbox. So I would love to know in the chat how much time you live in your inbox. Do you do project management in your inbox? Because a lot of time people accidentally or intentionally, they live in their inbox and they are slaves to their inbox. So this is where I say, you know, take a look at all the emails that are coming in and look at them in a different way. Do they represent, you know, a task that you need to take care of right away, a critical task? Is it is the email representing information that you just need to know, but no action is taken? Is it something that you need to bring in the right people into it, not the reply all? The reply all button is a horrible invention, to be honest, because a lot of times it actually creates more work, more attention given to an email or a piece of information that is not intentional for you. So the whole idea here is to see your emails in a different light. The other types of emails are, does it create a deliverable? And do you need to respond at it within a time sensitive frame of time? Mind you, checking your email also is another thing. Make sure you keep in mind or track of how many times you check your email, whether on phone or whether on desktop, because that actually decreases the amount of attention that you have, your productivity, as well as your focus on communication, which are all very huge factors when it comes for you to be, you know, an amazing project manager and team player as well. Here are some real quick rules for your inbox. Turn off all notifications. If you have a notification that keeps coming through saying you have a new email, that's like shouting squirrel to someone. So in English or in the States, we say, oh, you just took your focus off and you are just going after all those notifications coming in. Turn off the notifications. Turn on filters and labels so that you know, for example, if your boss is sending you an email and it has a certain word in the subject line, that you are going to be looking at that first. It's a matter of prioritization. And your filters, if you have newsletters coming in, those can filter to a subfolder in your inbox that you don't have to check right away, for example. The other thing is, if you're on Outlook or if you're on Gmail, the best thing right now is they have templates. So they have canned templates that you can already be using. They are formatted emails of responses that you might be using on a regular basis, but you can customize. So you don't have to spend time, you don't have to spend a lot of attention in redoing those same emails. You just have them as a library of templates for you. So you're going to see them under a label within Google for Business or your Gmail or Outlook under templates. And the other thing is create different inboxes for different types of information. Your newsletters can go to an inbox. If you're part of like clubs or communities or forums, have them go separate so that you are prioritizing your inbox for anything that needs your attention and your time more than anything. Tip 3 is keep it intentional, keep it simple, use bullet points. I don't know about you, but when I see an email that has like 5 paragraphs to it, I need a cup of coffee. I do not do well with a long email that has like a bunch of paragraphs. The action items are embedded in them somehow, you know, so you want to keep it simple. One thing that I've learned is also in the subject line, you can use labels. For example, but this is something that you have to bring your whole entire team on. So with these productivity tips that I'm giving you, I'm hoping that you take them back to your team or your management and have a group discussion on how you can be better, more productive, more effective, more efficient, and more of collaboration within the group. But if you use like these labels, action required, time sensitive, urgent for your information, or please reply by a specific date, use that in the subject line because it helps people focus and prioritize, but it also helps you with the search within your inbox as well. So steal this idea if you can. Let's talk about certain applications that can help you with your email and your inbox. One of them is Mail Tracker. So Mail Tracker is also a Google Chrome extension, but what this does for you is it keeps the guessing away. So if you turn on Mail Tracker within your inbox, you are able to see when an email that you sent out, who's opened it, how many times, when it was opened, who did they forward it to, for example, as well as gives you like a pop-up of when you should follow up with them. So gone are the days when you're like, you know, in your head trying to think of, oh, I sent an email to Dahlia 5 days ago. I wonder if she saw it. This gives you that information right away. So it's a very helpful tool. The other one that's very helpful is called Maelstrom. And what you can do with Maelstrom is you can do this with any inbox, Gmail, Hotmail, Outlook, whatever domain. But what you do is you create an account with your inbox or your email that you want to organize and clean up. And this does mass organization. So for example, it will analyze your whole entire inbox. It will tell you the sender. So like if you're still having notifications from Twitter or LinkedIn, turn those off. You don't need those anymore. But in here, in your inbox, it will tell you how many emails came from Twitter, for example, or from a certain person. And so this is where you can do a mass archive, a mass delete. You can organize it in folders, but in bulk. So this is a great way. This is also a great way for you to unsubscribe from newsletters and from emails that you didn't even sign up for. And if anybody has their mic on, if you can mute, I would greatly appreciate it. All right, so there is this wonderful technique called the Pomodoro. And yes, that is like the tomato. And what this does is it's trying to help project managers and professionals not multitask. It proves a point. It's actually based on science that if you are able to focus 25 minutes on a certain task, you will be able to get.
Sorry, could you say that again?
That was me, actually, my Siri. If you are able to focus 25 minutes on a certain task and take a 5-minute break, and then also go more projects done in a more effective way. This Pomodoro technique is actually an extension on Chrome. It's also a downloadable app, and it has a timer to it. So I would challenge you to take a look at this. These all applications will be successful for you, or you will come back and you say, Dahlia, Pomodoro technique did not work for me, as long as you play with it. Project managers, from what I've seen, they have a very hard time to set time aside to play with new applications or new habits. So you have to try really hard in order to create a better productive ecosystem for yourself as well as for your team. So Pomodoro technique is one. The other thing that I've realized is when you are writing really quickly, or your thoughts down, or an email, or even your LinkedIn profile, summary, a lot of times you make mistakes. So Grammarly, if anybody's using Grammarly, please, raise your hand or say, yes, I am using it in the chat. But Grammarly is a great tool that helps you as an editor. And so this helps you with punctuation. It helps you with editing documents, even emails, even social media posts as well. So it's almost like having an editor with you or an assistant with you at all times. I actually cannot live without Grammarly at the moment. So with all of the project management that you do, you probably speak to a huge number of people, team members, partners, leadership, colleagues, friends. And this is where Video Ask is a great tool for you to collectively get either feedback or to make an announcement of some kind. So the whole idea of productivity is, if you have information that you need to disseminate, is how do you do it? Or if you're collecting information, how do you do it in an easy way that you can reach multiple people without having it be individually an email, for example? So what Video Ask does is it's a desktop tool. It's also an app where you're making a video and you ask for either feedback or for ideas, or for testimonials, for example, if that's what you're doing. But it's a way of collecting information, and it's a way of disseminating information. It is all about the video, which video is the most personable type of exchange other than in person, obviously. So give Video Ask a chance as well to see if it works for you. The other thing about disseminating information, I know everybody probably loves Google Docs, and I have nothing against Google Docs, but one application that works across different devices as well as different operating systems is called Notion. And Notion now has become one of those portals where you can put or create a knowledge base on it. You can create project workflows on it, workspaces. It could be for different types of projects that you're working on. You have access levels, which I know everybody loves to make sure that they have control as who has access and who doesn't. And it is real time. So anytime you update Notion, it is updated in real time. And it works really well across different devices: Android, iPhones, desktop, Macs, PCs, you name it. One way of, I don't know if anybody has used Loom or not, but this is also another visual way of sharing information. So say, for example, you have a new project timeline that you're putting together, or a new project, you can do an overlay of video and audio on Loom. And it's interactive, meaning people can comment. You will see everybody's comment on it. This can be done, think of it where, for example, you're doing it for team meetings on a weekly basis or a daily basis, or maybe it's updates to a platform that you're working on or a project that you're working on. So this is a very, very quick way of you, again, sharing information. It's productive because it's not time consuming for you, and it's interactive. It leaves back that feedback loop that you want. So this is called Loom. And like I said in the beginning, especially if you came on the webinar late, you will have access to this deck. You'll have access to me. So if you can connect with me on LinkedIn, I would love that. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Here's another one, and I'm just giving you an option because a lot of people like different apps for different reasons, either the color or the way it flows. So Scribe is a Google Chrome extension. So if you go to the web store on Chrome, you can actually you can download all these extensions, and it will tell you right next on the deck here that it is a Google Chrome extension. So with Scribe, this is also a way where you can video a process, and you can take a look at different screenshots. For example, you can also highlight it if you want to put like steps. So you can say, with an audio overlay or a video overlay, step 1, you do this, step 2, you do this. You can highlight something on a navigation. You can put arrows if you want within your video. So this is a very easy way where you are taking a video of a workflow, for example, for a team, a client, but it's something that it's on your desktop so that you're explaining it in a visual way for them. I hope some of these apps are sparking ideas or giving you this sigh of relief that there's something out there that can help you also take back some of your time and be more productive in how you communicate and how you manage the information that you are keeping for the projects that you're working on. Here's a simple one, but a lot of people appreciate this, where you have another Chrome extension called Go Full Page. And this saves you time just by clicking and you're capturing the screen as a full page so that you can use it for annotation, you can use it for notes, or sending it back to your team. I'm trying to give you all these different tools that will help you be more productive, efficient, save you time, and also help with the communication with your team or your leadership as well. So this does a screen capture of a full page in one single image instead of you putting it in different ones. A lot of times with project management work, you're working on projects where you're searching different websites and you want to find maybe similar tools, similar services of the project that you're working on. Another extension is called Similar Sites. So this is where you put in a URL of a certain tool, product, service, or even company that you're working with. And then you'll be able to look at, it will give you a list of similar sites to the one that you are working on at the moment. So this comes in handy when you're doing research as a team or as an individual or project lead in regards to share that information with your team members. The other one that I wanted to share with you, this one is also one that I do not live without. I realized with all the Zoom calls that we do and all the client presentations and all the prospect and leads calls that we do, as well as project calls that we do, I need a second brain. And that second brain has to have a transcription of everything that was said within a certain like Zoom meeting or call or even a Google Meet. So Otter is perfect. Otter is perfect because it is your note assistant. It is one that it comes in handy where it can record the session for you, not video recording, but record it for you, give you a transcription. You can also do it in different languages now. You can also go back into the transcription, highlight what you want to say or turn that into an agenda, and then share it with the people that you would want to take action on certain highlights or certain actionable items within the transcription. So it gives you that ability to turn a video call or a team call into an actionable document, and it's within Otter. And you can set this from your phone if you're, for example, taking a call within the car or something like that. So it comes in really handy. All right, so now the fun stuff. When it comes to project management, all I think of is the brainstorming and the brain power that you have within your team. That there's sometimes when you're having brainstorming sessions, all the ideas that you guys are talking about, it's almost like you want to be able to put them in one area that will be accessible later, but also that there's no ideas lost. So Miro, and I know that there's a couple of PMI instructors that are using it right now for their workshops, is a great way for collective feedback, collective brainstorming, even project management mapping, if you will. And the best part about it is it already has templates in here that you can go in and steal. And so like here, for example, they have agile workflows. You can steal that as a map and then have all your team members be part of that. This really helps with inclusivity. And this really helps with people, especially if people work on brainstorming or sharing ideas in different speeds. Imagine having a Miro open where it's on a specific focused project and you're just telling your team members to go in, and it's all trackable. So you know who's putting what ideas together. And then you're collectively putting this map together that then you can reach out and check on a daily basis, for example, or for updates. So this is a great way for inclusivity, for brainstorming, for helping people diagram visually, especially those that are visually oriented, not necessarily those that speak up at different sessions or Zoom calls, for example. And as a project lead, you now have the challenge, but also the opportunity to deal with team members that project or share information or ideas in their head in different ways, more verbally, sometimes more visually, sometimes they need to hear what everything about the project is about or what their team members are saying before they're able to share their ideas. So you have to be very aware of how your teams are collaborating together, but how they operate individually. And so Miro is one of those platforms you just keep open and let them do what they do in their own time, obviously with different deadlines that are communicated, but it helps with people that need to have that visual map, if you will. So the other thing here that is also great is when you put workflows together. And I know as a project manager, you probably either are using a project management system like @Task, or maybe Trello or Asana, or a Gantt chart, if you will, from Google Docs. Those are all well and good as long as you are evaluating them and as long as it is accepted by the team and leadership, whichever leadership that you are dealing with, or if you are leadership, that you go back to the team members and see what's working and what's not. But Flowus does something really great where it looks at timelines, and it also looks at the amount of time that people spend on different tasks. And I think this is interesting for project managers because you work under budget constraints, you work under time constraints. So anything that will give you visibility on different tasks, how much time is on it, or how much budget that's accounted for that time. This is something visual that you can then go back to the team and then reevaluate not only their time spent on the project, but the project itself, if that makes sense. The last one that I wanted to share is because project managers always work with numbers and love Excel sheets. I have to tell you, I do not like Excel sheets, or I should say they don't like me. Excel sheets and numbers are not my forte at all. But so this is where I look for platforms that can speak my language, my way, and that actually can also integrate with other great platforms that we work with. For example, like QuickBooks or HubSpot or Salesforce or even Stripe, Oracle. So Causal is a great one because it can take a Google Sheet with all the formulas in it and be able to integrate with other applications, but also to help you visualize what that Google Sheet or the numbers in it can look like as a visual sheet, not only with formulas or with cells, etc. And I think that's important, especially if you go back to your team, like I said, and as a project manager, you really have to assess what strengths your team has and what weaknesses. And if their weakness is Gantt charts and cells and Google Sheets, think of other visual ways where they can absorb or consume that information. All right. So like I said, I would love for us to be in touch. Again, if just in case if you have any questions, this time around, as well as for later. And so if you are able to hold your camera and hold it up to the QR codes, here you have my QR code for my profile to follow me on Twitter, LinkedIn as well. And I see here that I have Konstantinos. You also connected with me, so thank you for that. And yes, and Lazaros, of course. And that is my presentation. I would love to get any questions that you might have.
Thank you so much, Dahlia. Really, it was really interesting to learn all these beautiful applications to help our everyday business. And just to let you know, already we have some text messages here that asking for all of these applications or coming one after another. So I want to inform everybody that we are going to send a link of the recorded event afterwards, along with a PDU claim code. So at this moment, let's see if there is any kind of question. So feel free to write your questions on the chat box. So let's start with any kind of question. I see that Mr. Gavalas made a reference to Asana, but you also made a reference to Asana too. So I think it's more or less, Dahlia, what works better for me, right? So there are so many applications. Something works better for me. Some guys are more with figures and Excel spreadsheets. Others they want just other kind of interaction with their application. So I feel there's no silver bullet for
well,
everybody, right?
No, there is no silver bullet. But the thing what you just said right now, what I would do though is I would take a look at not what works for you, but what works for your team, especially if your team is remote, as well as what are you trying to accomplish. So you have Smart Task, you have Asana, you have Trello, you have so many different options. But if your team is not wanting something very sophisticated, then Asana might work. If they want something that shows more accountability, has more steps to it, bells and whistles, then @task would work. You know what I'm saying? Because they all have different levels of complexity. So the other thing is to always go back to your team or the project team to see what do they want to accomplish. Is it just a visual for them to take a look at what the project timeline is and who's accountable for what? Or is it to measure time? Is it for them to work on different aspects of the project together? So that will change which one you take, as a project management tool. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes total sense. And I'm just getting back to the first part of your presentation regarding all of these disruptions and the noise we have every day and all these notifications and how can put everything in order just to increase our productivity. And I understand this is something that is quite relevant for all of us because nowadays we're working in an environment that we're getting so much noise and information, and this always takes time of our task. And I think that we're looking for applications to put everything in order, to have it easier for everybody, access to information and how we interact, but at the same time to increase our productivity. So I think that apart from using the right application, is making the right environment within these applications for us to work, more efficiently, right? So that's a huge topic. That's quite a debate that we have, every time with my colleagues, and how can make our work better, not just by using these apps, but by reducing, the noise of all this information.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that I would recommend is you lessen the amount of communication channels that you have. So I will give you an example. On my voicemail, on my phone voicemail, my message says either leave me a joke or text me or email me. If you don't leave me a joke, you can't leave a voicemail. And so that's one way of me shutting down that communication channel. So if you look at your communication channels, so if you're using WhatsApp, Slack, Microsoft Teams, the instant messaging, your text messaging, Facebook Messenger, all of this, then you're drowning. What you want to do is you want to establish what are the channels and for what reason. What are they used for, right? And then communicate that with the team so that they don't leave you voicemails unless they give you really good jokes. Because if the jokes are good, then I'll take the message. But what I'm saying is, like, take a look at what are the channels, what are the tech platforms you're using as a team, and make sure that you communicate it with your other team members, but also to set guidelines. So I don't know if you've noticed or not, there are some even countries right now where there's laws that you cannot email after 6 p.m. You cannot email on weekends anymore. So Portugal is one of them. Have you seen that?
Unfortunately, no, but hopefully it will be, part of our practice here in Greece.
Exactly. But you can make that as part of your practice if you set the intention as well as communicate. So for example, on your emails, if you want, if everybody agrees that in your email signature, you will say emails will be responded by within 48 hours, not 48 seconds. We're not there anymore. So you need to set those guidelines and those limits. And I think for everybody's mental health, which is a huge, huge project for any team right now, and it has to be done collectively. This is where you have to also put limits around how you are managing a team as well as a project.
Dahlia, I'm sure that actually it's needless to say that everybody will agree with what you're saying. I have a two-part question. First part is I understand, all these ground rules about the 48 hours response time for the mails and stuff, and I'm totally up for that, right? But on the other hand, I'm struggling, to find the balance and see, is it actually, can be a practice, an open market with all these requests and all this pressure and all this chasing from your clients and stuff. So I'm saying that that's good. That's so what should happen. And I'm saying that, mental health for our team is our first priority. That's what we're working for. But how do you find the balance, on an open market with all this chasing from the clients? And that's the first part. And going back, another question from my side is about, working with the right app with your team. But most of our projects are cross-departmental, right? So we face the challenge that some departments may have different apps for their everyday business, where some other departments, they will have, different apps because it's part of their DNA of the department, right? So what happens when they come to a cross-departmental, division? How do we cope with that?
So let me take the second question first, if you don't mind. So usually what happens is when our team is asked to come into an organization to help them with the onboarding or the training of different apps, we have an open conversation in regards to what are the solutions that are in place at the moment. A lot of times what happens is they don't even realize what solutions or apps that they're using until there's an open discussion of why they're using it and what they're using it for. And so when you start doing that and you come in and you have your own application versus the one that they're using internally, it's the whole idea is to make sure that they understand what is the goal. And then you have to onboard them. Which one is the easiest for them? Because in reality, it could be that yours is easier than what they've been using. It could be easier than the one that they're used to, because, when you go into a client and they're like, well, we've always done it this way. It's not broken. What are you trying to fix? But if you're trying to show them an application that will make it super easy for them, because of the goals and objectives of the project that you're putting forward, then they will be more prone to changing to your application versus theirs. Now, the first question about the mental health and how to address that with clients, we are at a point right now, and it's a global effect that we went through. The global pause that we went through last couple of years has made it easier for us to have a conversation with our team and have a conversation with our clients to protect our team. And so we need to make sure that those are communicated first and foremost, even in a kickoff call. This is what you're doing. This is what we do as a team, to protect mental health of our team, as well as productivity rises when people are not working 24/7, right? So here's the thing, the clients are probably going to get jealous of you because you're protecting their team, because they were not able to put those guidelines in place. My suggestion for any project manager that's taking their team mental health seriously is to put together a list of bullets of what you're doing. You don't have to do it alone. You should do this as a collective exercise and have it be a Google Doc that you share with your clients and have them do it with their own team. And I bet you $1 million that they're going to appreciate you even more for it.
Thank you so much, Dahlia. Thank you.
Yep.
So let's see if there's any kind of questions in the chat box. No. All right. Okay. I want to thank everybody for being part of this amazing event. Thank you so much, Dahlia,
Of course.
for your presentation, and more than happy, to share this recorded link for everybody to see in their own pace. What's what all the tools are working for, and we expect all of you to our next event, and we'll keep you posted to our next action plan. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much, Dahlia. Thank you for your time.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye, everybody. Here.
Ευχαριστώ.
Bye. Ευχαριστώ. Bye.